My relationship with olive oil goes way back. It's my oil of choice, and I've been using it ever since I started cooking. It dresses my salad. I rub it into my cuticles during the harsh Canadian winters. And like so many others, I cook with it. And that's where things haven't been the easiest for us, olive oil and I. Being presented with conflicting information, especially about diet and nutrition, has been puzzling and frustrating. How can I make an informed decision about nourishing my body and feeding my family? What should I care about as a consumer, and how do I safely use my favorite oil? I decided to do what I do best. That's research. Virgin olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, pure olive oil, olive pomace oil, light olive oil. Did these all matter to me, and which ones were safe to cook with? These are the questions that I had in mind when I started my research. I heard that it wasn't safe to fry in extra virgin olive oil, but I found resources that told me otherwise. As for the various types of oil, it turns out that there are only 3 that really matter to consumers: Evo, pure olive oil, and light olive oil. As it turned out, color was not an indicator of an oil's quality. And the word light in front of light olive oil had nothing to do with the calorie count. An overwhelming number of resources told me that it was safe to continue cooking with my favorite oil, even the extra virgin version of my favorite oil. I was truly relieved, but this also meant that much of what I had heard about olive oil actually turned out to be untrue. Was I the only one who felt like she'd been lied to? I decided to enlist the help of a good friend named Sydney, who is the owner of an Airedale Terrier named, wait for it, Olive Oil. My idea was really simple. I would ask Sydney a series of 8 true or false questions about olive oil. For every correct answer, Olive would get a treat.
Olive's already ready. She's good to go.
Number 1. As much as 80% of the olive oil in today's market is fake.
True.
That is false. It's a myth.
Really?
Actually, 98% of olive oil in today's market is of good quality.
Sorry, Olive.
Number 2.
Okay.
You can test the authenticity of extra virgin olive oil by placing it in the fridge. And if it solidifies, it's good quality.
True.
That is false.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There is no home test, and the fridge test is certainly not accurate in any way.
Okay, Olive, I'm gonna get you one.
All right. The greener the color, the higher the quality of the olive oil.
That has to be true. It's false. Sorry, Olive, I'll give you one. I'm being the worst.
Color is not in any way an indication of the quality of the olive oil. The things that determine color are the types of olives used, the harvest cycle.
Are you learning, Olive?
Light olive oil contains fewer calories than other olive oils.
False. That's right. Good job, Olive. You're doing so good, Olive.
Yeah. All olive oils contain the same number of calories. Okay, let's broaden it a little bit. All oils contain the same calories per serving.
False.
That's actually true.
Even avocado oil?
Yeah, so all oils like avocado, coconut, canola, sunflower, they all contain the same number of calories per serving.
Oh, that's surprising.
I didn't
Sorry,
know
Olive.
that. When you heat extra virgin olive oil, it loses its health benefits. So it should only be used raw.
I've always heard that that's true.
And yet, it is false.
Yeah, I thought when you were to fry, it would lose its benefits.
No, that's false. So you can heat up extra virgin olive oil, you can heat up all forms of olive oil, and they retain their many health benefits.
Olive is not happy with my trivia knowledge.
Okay, last 2 questions. To maintain quality, olive oil should be stored in a cool, dark place.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, Olive.
Olive, you get a treat.
Olive oil actually oxidizes in light, so it is best to keep it in a dark place. All right, our last question.
Last question.
This is for all the treats.
The whole bag.
Like a fine wine, olive oil only gets better with time.
False. That's correct.
It is false. Once
There
you
you
open
go.
a bottle of olive oil, you should try to use it within like 2 or 3 months.
Thanks to Olive and Sydney, I was able to bust quite a few myths about olive oil and share some of the knowledge I had gained. And Olive has her own Instagram. The handle is @olive_the_Airedale, so you can follow all of her crazy adventures online. After putting my doubts to rest, I felt a whole lot better about my favorite oil. So now I would like to share with you 3 recipes, each of which contains a different type of olive oil. The first recipe I'm going to share with you is for my new favorite salad dressing, which is a turmeric and tahini dressing. All of the ingredients and measurements are listed down below for you in the description box. Now this dressing uses pure olive oil, which has a lighter flavor. I didn't want to use extra virgin olive oil because I didn't want any of the fruity or nutty notes to compete with the other ingredients. That's why I used pure olive oil. This is a really simple dressing to make. You simply add all of the ingredients to a blender and then blend it until smooth. The dressing has a very creamy, almost whipped-like texture, and that is one of my favorite things about it. Well, that and the obviously beautiful golden color. We go through this dressing pretty quickly when I make it, and when I take a salad to work with this dressing, it's almost guaranteed to be a topic of discussion in the staff room. The next recipe that I want to share with you is for my chocolate olive oil cake, which is an eggless cake, by the way. And I have shared a version of this many years ago, but my recipe has changed a little bit over the years. All of the measurements and ingredients are down below. I just want to remind you of that, so please check those out. And in terms of the sugar, I used regular white refined sugar, and that's not vegan, so I wanted to point that out. If you're vegan, you might need to swap that out for a sugar that you prefer. Now in this recipe, I'm using Evo, because I think that the fruity and nutty notes in extra virgin olive oil are just going to add another layer of complexity and depth to this cake. Something else that I've started doing differently is to swap out regular vinegar for apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has beautiful fruity notes as well, so again, I thought that would be a nice complementary touch. As with most cake baking, I like to start by adding my dry ingredients to the bowl, and I give those a bit of a whisk just to make sure that they are nicely incorporated before adding the wet ingredients. However, when it comes to the wet ingredients, you are going to hold off on the vinegar until the very end. The vinegar and baking soda, as you know, when those two things come into contact, that is the reaction that is going to get our cake to rise. If we add the vinegar too soon, then that reaction is just going to fizzle out and we won't be able to take advantage of it. So now you can see me adding the vinegar, and you're actually going to see a change in the consistency of the batter as I whisk away. You can see it start to froth up a little bit. And when you see that reaction happening, that's when you need to get this into your cake mold as quickly as possible and into a hot oven. This cake is going to bake at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. I usually check it with a toothpick to see if it's ready, and then when my cake is thoroughly cooled, and that in itself can take about 30 minutes, I always dust it with a little bit of icing sugar. It just looks so elegant and beautiful to me anyways. And this cake is so moist because of the olive oil, and the flavors from the Evo really work well with the other flavors in the cake, like the espresso and the cinnamon. This is one of my absolute favorite cake recipes. I hope you give it a try. The last recipe I'm going to share with you is aloo katli, which are spicy potato rounds. This is a snack. I suppose it could be a side dish too. And in this recipe, I am using light olive oil for its neutral flavor. Olive oil doesn't have to be used in only Mediterranean cuisine or Italian cuisine or European continental food. You can use it in all cuisines. So what I've done is I've added about 2 tablespoons of light olive oil to my nonstick pan over high heat, and I've added my potato rounds. I'm going to allow these to shallow fry for about 3 to 3.5 minutes. And you should absolutely cover them up. That is going to keep all of the heat inside the pan. And then 3 minutes later, when you open these up, you need to turn over each and every potato round. I'm trying to achieve a nice crispy crust on these potatoes, and that is also why I'm keeping them in a single layer. Then cover them once more for another 3.5 minutes. Then open them up and repeat the ritual of turning them over. I did this a total of 4 times. For me, that was enough to fully cook through the potato rounds, and it was enough for them to develop a nice golden crust. And once they have that crust, remove the potatoes from the oil. We're just going to set them aside for a little bit so that we can temper our whole spices. We're not going to switch off the pan. We're not going to remove any oil from the pan. We're just going to keep going, but we're going to put the potato aside. And I'm going to remind you that the ingredients and measurements are listed below, so definitely consult the description box. You're going to add the whole spices to the hot oil, push them around a little bit, and just allow them to crackle. We don't want the mustard seeds to start popping, but we definitely want to see some action. Then add the potato rounds back into the hot oil and incorporate them with the oil and spices. Then it's time to add the ground spices, and we really only need to cook these spices until they are aromatic. The potato is already cooked. We want them to be nicely coated in the spices, and we do need to season with a little bit of salt, but we don't really have to cook the potato for much longer because that work is already done. As soon as the smell changes from raw spice to aromatic spice, I know that my dish is done, so I remove the potato rounds, and these are best enjoyed while they are hot and crispy. I once described this dish as fondant potatoes Indian style, and I think that's true. The beautiful golden crust on the outside and the light buttery potatoes inside, it's pure pleasure. Remember when I said there was nothing you could do at home to check whether your olive oil was authentic? Well, that isn't exactly true. The North American Olive Oil Association conducts one of the largest, most complete olive oil testing and certification programs. They list the oils on their website, and you can even check for their quality seal when shopping for olive oil. The information on their website really informed my research, so I will link all of the resources that I consulted below in the description box. And I would like to thank the North American Olive Oil Association for partnering with me on this video. Going forward, I think I can rest easy knowing that olive oil is in fact the most stable oil for cooking. For more delicious recipes, stay tuned to my channel by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. I post videos every Monday and Thursday, and I already have a ton of recipes featuring olive oil on my channel, so I'll be sure to link those for you in a playlist. Alright, thank you for spending time with me, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.